Introduction. The perfect storm. Think 2008 was a nightmare? You haven't seen anything yet. In 2008, the banks broke. In 2026, the very fabric of our reality is tearing. We are walking into a perfect storm of a debt supercycle, an AI-driven labor collapse, and a geopolitical powder keg that makes the Great Recession look like a walk in the park. This isn't just another dip, it's the Great Reset you weren't prepared for. The financial crisis of 2008 was a localized earthquake in the housing market, but 2026 is a global tectonic shift. Why is 2026 fundamentally worse? In 2008, the world had dry powder. Central banks could lower interest rates from 5% to 0 and print trillions to save the system. Today, that ammunition is gone. We are entering this crisis with record-high inflation, sovereign debt at levels not seen since World War II, and interest rates that are still punishingly high. The safety net is already shredded. The global economy is currently a giant Jenga tower, and 2026 is the year we pull the bottom brick. Chapter 1. The Silent Job Massacre. The most terrifying difference is the silent job massacre. In 2008, if you lost your job, the job still existed, it was just vacant. In 2026, the jobs are vanishing forever. Agentic AI has reached a level of maturity where it doesn't just assist humans, it replaces the entire workflow. From mid-level management to creative services and legal analysis, companies are slashing headcounts by 40 to 60%, not because of a temporary downturn, but because a $20 a month subscription is more efficient than a $100,000 a year employee. This isn't a cycle, it's a permanent displacement of the middle class, creating a useless class that current social security systems are not designed to support. This is a structural collapse of the income-spending loop that has fueled capitalism for 2 centuries. When the workers stop earning, the consumers stop spending, and the engine of the world grinds to a halt. Chapter 2. The Everything Bubble and Global Insolvency. The everything bubble is finally bursting. In 2008, it was just subprime mortgages. In 2026, it's everything. Commercial real estate has become a ghost town. The skyscrapers of Manhattan, London, and Tokyo stand half empty. The remote work revolution, combined with AI-driven corporate downsizing, has made millions of square feet of office space obsolete. Because these buildings back the balance sheets of regional banks, their collapse is triggering a banking contagion far more complex than the 2008 crisis. Governments can no longer bail out the banks because the governments themselves are insolvent. When the lender of last resort goes broke, there is no one left to stop the freefall. We are seeing the death of the too big to fail doctrine, as the scale of the debt is now too big to save. Chapter 3. The Hallucination Depression. The machines aren't just coming for your job, they're coming for the truth. In 2026, we are facing the first hallucination depression, an economic collapse fueled by autonomous algorithms trading against each other in a world where no one can tell a deepfake from a dividend report. Trust is the invisible currency of the global economy, and today that currency is worthless. High-frequency trading bots react to AI-generated fake news in milliseconds, wiping out billions in equity before a human can even blink. In 2008, we struggled with toxic assets. In 2026, we are struggling with toxic reality. The feedback loop between AI and the markets has created a volatility engine that no regulator can keep up with. When the truth dies, the market dies with it. Chapter 4. The Energy Compute Paradox. The global energy grid is a ticking bomb. We have built a digital civilization on a physical foundation that is crumbling under AI's insatiable thirst for power. In 2026, the metric for survival is the cost per kilowatt hour versus the cost per teraflop of compute. Demand for electricity to feed massive AI clusters has effectively crowded out the needs of the civilian population. In North America and Europe, we are seeing energy rationing for the first time in peacetime history. Major manufacturing hubs are being forced to shut down so that data centers can continue to process the world's financial algorithms. This isn't a financial glitch, it is a hard physical limit. We are literally running out of electrons at the exact moment we need them most. Chapter 5: Geopolitics and the Death of the Dollar. The geopolitical landscape is far more fractured than in 2008. Back then, the US and China worked together to stabilize the global economy. In 2026, that cooperation is a distant memory. We are in the heat of a Cold War 2.0. With the BRICS Plus nations launching their own independent payment systems, the US dollar's role as the global reserve currency is actively being sabotaged. This means the US can no longer export its inflation. Every dollar printed to save a failing bank now causes immediate and painful inflation at your local grocery store. The exorbitant privilege of the dollar has become a liability. We are moving towards a world of regional fortress economies where trade wars have evolved into total economic decoupling. Chapter 6: The Demographic Cliff. The final boss of the 2026 economy is the demographic crisis. The baby boomer generation has entered the high-cost care phase of life. They are drawing from pension funds that are heavily invested in the very bonds and stocks that are currently crashing. This creates a tax revenue hole that is mathematically impossible to fill. There are fewer workers to support more retirees, and those workers are being replaced by AI. Governments are choosing default by inflation. They pay the promised amounts, but that money buys 50% less every year. This is the generational scissors, a theft of the lifetime labor of the young to pay for the past of the old. Chapter 7: Digital Feudalism and the CBDC Trap. We have moved past late-stage capitalism and into platform feudalism. In 2026, you don't own your house, your car, or your data. You are a tenant on a platform owned by a trillion-dollar entity. Everything is as a service. This system is enforced by central bank digital currencies. Programmable money means the government can decide where, when, and how you spend. If you fail to pay your social credit or climate tax, your digital wallet is deactivated. This is the ultimate tool of control, designed to keep the population in a state of permanent hand-to-mouth dependency. The 2008 crisis took your equity. 2026 is taking your agency. Chapter 8: The Analog Renaissance. History doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes with blood and bankruptcy. As the centralized systems fail, we are seeing a renaissance of the basic. The most valuable skills in 2026 aren't found on a resume, but in the ability to maintain an analog life in a digital world that is falling apart. People are leaving the smart cities that have become debt traps and moving to rural resilience clusters. There is a new value in things that cannot be hacked, tracked, or deleted: paper books, physical cash, and manual labor. The person who can fix a generator or grow food is worth 1,000 prompt engineers. We are de-urbanizing because the network has become too dangerous to inhabit. Conclusion: the Great Sifting. The 2008 crisis was a warning we ignored. 2026 is the consequence we cannot escape. We spent 18 years building a house of cards out of silicon and debt, and now the wind has arrived. But remember, a forest fire clears the brush so that new growth can begin. The world isn't ending, it's just shedding a skin that no longer fits. We are being forced to return to first principles. What is real? What is valuable? Who can you trust? The survivors of 2026 will be those who embrace radical self-reliance. Don't fear the collapse of the old world. Prepare for your role in the new one. Stay vigilant, stay physical, stay human.